What's going on, folks? Thank you for tuning in. Hope everybody's doing well. When you think of a chest rig, you probably first think of almost a body armor system. You think of some tactical rig to hold maybe AR-15 mags, maybe a plate carrier, something like that. But my chest rig is really more used for hunting purposes than anything tactical. Yeah, I've got some tactical gear used for that stuff, but the one I use most often is this Bino harness system. So there are some systems that really are designed just to hold a pair of binoculars. Some as simple as some elastic straps that basically fit like a bra, kind of like this, that just hold the binoculars sucked up against your chest. Even that I think is beneficial, but just because it keeps your binoculars from flopping around. Keeps you from banging them on stuff as you're climbing into a tree or walking through the woods. If you bend over, they don't flop around. So those systems are helpful, but I think a pouch style system is even more helpful. This is from Alaska Guide Creations, and I've used this for about a year and a half now, a little over a year. And at first, I don't know, it seemed like a decent idea to contain my binoculars in something like this, but now I don't go on a big game hunt without it. So that's basically anything from turkey on up. Now if I'm dove or quail hunting, you don't even need binoculars, so I'm not gonna bring this system with me. But I like it not only because it contains my binos, but because it's on the front. It's easy to access. I used to always bring a pack with me, which is good if you're going on a multi-day hunt or you just, for some reason, need just tons and tons of gear. But the gear that you would need on a standard turkey hunt or deer hunt, what you would actually take out with you just for that immediate sit, for that evening hunt, usually can fit in something as compact as this. And when I found myself bringing in a large pack, I also found myself just filling it up with all kinds of bullshit I didn't need, just because I had the space. So what if I need it? I might as well carry it. Now that's a good strategy in general, especially for survival type items. But when you have a base camp and you're really just going on an excursion and you know exactly what you're going to need, that's not necessarily a great strategy, especially for the things that you need to get to quickly, because they kind of get mixed in and buried with all the things that are the what if type items. So a pack like this keeps everything right on front, easy to access. You don't have to, get your buddy to dig in your pack for something. You don't have to take it off. You don't have to try to reach back there and get it. It keeps everything right here, easy to find. And the way I have mine set up, I think works particularly well. Now, any system like this is gonna be a helpful advantage over using a pack style system for just spot and stock style hunting or anything like that. But I use the main pouch as it's intended for my binos. And these are the binos that I've carried on every hunt for about a year and a half now. These are the Steiner Predator 10x42s. I think they're about the best binoculars you can get for the price. This is not sponsored by them or endorsed anyway. I bought these with my own money, and no, they're not El Cheapos, but they're not, some $1,500 set of binoculars. For about $300, this is really good German glass, really durable. Has never fogged up on me. They just are really crisp, really bright, and even in really low light, I can count on these Steiner Predators for a really sharp image. So it's got these elastic straps that basically replaces the main Bino neck strap. I took the main one off, and you use these little clips similar to like a little key ring to put these elastic straps on there. So that's basically so you can take the binoculars out of the pouch, and hands-free, you're not going to lose them. And that's something I like about this system. The way it comes, but especially the way I use it, everything is retained. So binoculars go in the main pouch. And these also have those lens caps on them that are nice. That's something that is an advantage and is a disadvantage. You have to remember to take them off every single time, and then naturally they kind of fold up on their own when you shove them down in the pouch. But they do protect the glass. So that's good, you just gotta remember to take them off every single time. But anyway, those are the binos I use. They go in the main pouch. And then there's this little elastic, almost pull cord. It's just regular elastic bungee cord, but with a pull tab on top. And that's what keeps the whole thing cinched down. Inside of this lower pocket, you can actually adjust the tension on that cord. They've got this little slider on here, but I found that actually was one of the things that didn't work as well as intended on this pack. So I put just a little knot in it to keep it from sliding further than I want. That way I can still tighten it or loosen it a little bit but it's not going to go beyond my max setting, if you will. So that's what I use to adjust the tension on the main retaining tab that holds the main pouch closed. But in this smaller pouch, it fits my rangefinder perfectly. This is the SIG Kilo 2200 MR. It's a 7x25 rangefinder. And SIG obviously is known for pistols, but as they've gotten into, you know, sights and some of these other categories, the rangefinders are really, really good. This particular model, the 2200 MR, I don't think there's another rangefinder, you know, under about the $600 mark that can beat this thing. And I think this was $399 when I bought it, something like that. It's got an illuminated reticle. The brightness automatically adjusts. It's a very good rangefinder. I've ranged stuff out to 200, or out to 2000, excuse me. Of course it can do 200. Out to 2000 with this thing. And it seems to just be a very, very well built rangefinder. And so SIG, new category for them, but they've done extremely well. So also in this pouch, like I said, this is kind of my essentials. Anytime I'm going on a spot and stalk style hunt or a big game hunt, definitely gonna need binos, definitely gonna need my rangefinder. This nice elastic sleeve on the front. At first when I got this pouch, I didn't know exactly what that was for, and maybe this is what it's for, maybe not, but I found that it fits my phone. This is just a Galaxy S7, but any iPhone, anything like that, it fits in there perfectly, and it's not gonna slosh out. It's retained, but you don't have to dig in your pockets if you need to get it. You can keep it right here so that if you do need to, I know it's better not to mess with your phone when you're hunting, of course, but if you need to, you know, pull up a map, pull up Onyx or something like that, it's right here on top. So you can literally pull it out, text your buddy, hey, I just shot the coolest buck ever, and then put it back in the pouch. Really nice way to contain your phone. And there's another little pouch on top that's about half the size of that one. And this is kind of the one that changes season to season. During turkey season, it fits my diaphragm call perfectly. During deer season, I don't know, it goes empty a lot of times, but that's just kind of a good extra pouch for just something that you might pick up or need to get to really quickly. Something that you can just slip in, take it out when you need it, put it back. So it's just a good, just little grab bag for any small items like this. That goes in that top pouch. And because it's elastic, it retains it really well. It's not gonna shake out or go anywhere. So those are kind of the stuff that always goes in the main section of the pouch. On the right side, there is a smaller section. Now I think Alaska Guide Creations actually has a smaller version of this pack that's essentially the exact same, but with no side pouches. And I like the side pouches. If you want something that's a little less bulky, then I would go with that other one, because this admittedly does get a little bit bulky. If you're driving around with it, kind of bangs into your steering wheel. You got to get used to it sitting there on your chest. I found that when I'm bow hunting, it doesn't get in my way at all. I'm a lefty. A lot of people see me do that and think, what is he doing? But I found it doesn't get in my way at all. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. But in these side pouches, on this side, I always keep a little wind puffer. Now this one is by Hunter Specialties, but it doesn't really matter. The brand doesn't matter on these. It's basically just talc powder inside a little like lotion or squirty bottle. And so I find this really helpful on any big game hunt. I don't have to dig in my pack to try to find a wind puffer. If I need to gauge the wind, you need it quickly. If the wind's really obvious, you know, you feel it coming in your face, you feel it going away from you, it's just gusting like crazy, then this isn't really necessary. But when it's necessary, it's typically in a situation where the subtleties matter. You want to be able to access this quickly. And this is an item that doesn't really store easily in your pocket, like on your pants or an upper pocket on a coat. But in this little side pouch, it works perfectly. And this side pouch zips up, so it's not going to be any loud Velcro or anything. And these zippers, I'm not sure if they're actual YKK zippers or not, but that's probably the thing I break most often on packs and pouches and stuff like that, is the zippers and the buckles and stuff like that. And I haven't had any problems with the zippers or buckles on this pouch. So keep my little wind puffer on that side, and then the other side, you're just stupid if you go in the woods without toilet paper, because you don't want to be that guy who cut off your sleeves in the middle of a hunt because nature called and you had to answer. So I always keep a little spare bit of toilet paper in the side pouch. Doesn't add any weight, doesn't take up any space, and you don't have to risk, you know, washing the toilet paper in the pocket of your jeans after your hunt, because it was never in the pocket of your jeans. It was always here. So that's just kind of an overview of my chest rig, my Bino system from Alaska Guide Creations that I use for any hunt. The straps on here work pretty well. I wish there was something to hold the slack a little bit better than it currently does, but it's not bad. You just kind of have some loose strings flopping around every once in a while. Not a big deal, but it's adjustable on both the sides and the top. And then a lot of times I actually keep a knife right here in the side pouch. And the reason for that, oh, I need to clean this knife, that's disgusting. The reason for that is simply because if you're sitting in a vehicle or sitting in a tree stand and you have a longer knife and it's on your belt, it gets kind of uncomfortable to sit because that knife is pressed up against your body. But keeping it just a little higher and a little closer into your side is going to actually keep it really well. It's not going to flop around. You can see it just kind of hugs my body right there. Now, most knives that come with sheaths are made for right-handed people, and I'm left-handed. So I kind of keep it on the wrong side of my body just because that's how the sheath is made. So I find when I draw it, I have to be a little bit careful, but I unhook it, draw it, and flip it around. So it's quicker to access than something on my belt, even though it's still a cross-draw motion and not just a direct fitment. So I may switch out the knife for something that I can fit on my left side. I've got some other knives that I like a whole lot. But for the money, this buck, I don't even know what model it is, but it's just a buck knife with a gut hook on it. I cleaned 3 hogs and 6 or 7 deer with that knife this year, and it was like a $40 knife. It never let me down. So I really like this position to keep a sheathed blade. It seems to stay out of my way, and it's always there when I need it. I tried carrying a pistol on the other side. You can see right now I'm carrying just out of the waistband. I tried carrying a pistol up higher, but the weight didn't seem to balance really well. So this pack works really well for containing weight in the main area, but when I was carrying a full-size pistol off to the side, that was kind of flopping around a little bit weird. So it didn't work for that. That would be awesome, because then I basically have my knife on this side, my pistol on this side, ready to go. It didn't quite work that way, but I've got other holster systems that I like, so it's not a big deal. One other thing that's pretty interesting that I forgot to show you guys about this pouch. First of all, there's buckles on the top and sides, so you can really take the entire thing down. It's got this little admin pouch on the back. It's just a mesh zipper area, and a lot of times this is where I will keep a Sharpie and a pen. Keep some zip ties in there, just because that's always handy when you're hunting. You need to attach a tag to an animal, and I don't know how many times having a zip tie has helped me out in a pinch. Just needing to kind of stitch something back together, needing to, I don't know. There's just so many uses for a zip ties. Any handy redneck can really be helped out. And then if I ever have any like permits or maps or anything like that, that goes in the admin pouch. I was a little bit worried about stuff in there getting super sweaty just because it rides right next to your body. But it's got enough ventilation in that mesh that it surprisingly hasn't really been an issue for me. And most of my hunting is in Texas, so you know I'm gonna be sweating like crazy where it's hot and just gross out here. So I was really worried about that, especially when I'm doing either early season whitetail hunts, or this year I got drawn on a nilgai hunt down in South Texas close to the King Ranch. It was an archery hunt, didn't end up getting one, but it was a fun hunt. But I was really worried about, you know, when I'm spotting and stalking out in the heat, that being an issue, but it really wasn't. So, very handy pack system. It's got some extra little tabs down here on the bottom that if you wanted to tie something on, maybe another pouch that hangs below it, though that might start to get a little bit cumbersome, but it's got these tabs that you can kind of do whatever you want. What else? I've covered just about everything on this thing. Oh, I mentioned retention earlier when I was talking about the binoculars in the main section. I like how those are retained nicely, and after losing one rangefinder on a hunt, I learned my lesson, and I did the same thing with my rangefinder. So even if I get excited and drop it, it's still retained to the main strap of the pack. But I did that with a simple just loop through on the lanyard, so that if I need to take it off, I can. If I need to, you know, give it to a buddy to spot something for me, he can. But then I can put it back on here nice and easy. So retention with stuff like this because you don't want to lose stuff like this. It gets expensive. So I learned my lesson with losing that first rangefinder, but believe it or not, I actually found it. So this was before I had the SIG Kilo 2200 MR, which is kind of their top of the line model as far as I'm concerned. They may have a newer one now, but that one's awesome. This was the SIG Kilo 850, which is more targeted towards, you know, bow hunters, and it's less extreme. Does not have an illuminated reticle. The ranging isn't quite as far, but I liked this a lot, and I was bummed when I lost it. I actually left it in a ground blind when I was in West Texas hunting, and just to prove how tough these things can be, well, that's the ground blind. That thing got thrashed. And this thing sat in the ground, in the mud, for about 3 months, taking everything that just toppled that Ameristep blind. I walked over, picked this thing up, pressed the range button, worked first try. Just had to scrape some of the mud off of it. But now I'm glad I found this, because I like the 2200 a little bit better, but now I actually have a backup rangefinder. So that proved to me that these SIG rangefinders are awesome, and I liked their ranging ability from the get-go, but seeing that they're that durable, man, I don't know if there's any other rangefinder that I could have done that to and it actually would have held up. So I hope you found this helpful. This wasn't really an in-depth review of any particular product, but more just a system of stuff that goes well together and just kind of how I use it. And kind of why you see this style of pack on me in most of my hunting videos. So if you're using a backpack, there's still some hunts, especially when I'm bringing a bunch of camera gear, where I will absolutely bring a backpack. But for, you know, most hunting situations, look into a pack like this. Again, this is from Alaska Guide Creations. I know there's some other good ones from Badlands and some other companies like that, but I think this thing is gonna last me for years and years to come. So if you've never tried a front pack like this for just basic deer hunting and exploring and adventuring, I suggest you try it, because it's worked out really well for me and contains everything I need, and it's easy to access. So give it a try. Until next time, stay safe, be free, and never stop seeking adventure.